Greetings, I'm Mar, and once again this is my opinion. Fighting evil by moonlight, winning love by daylight, never running from a real fight. While selling certain aspects short, Sailor Moon's English opening lyrics suit the show. The first TV adaptation of the long-running manga, Sailor Moon was the first anime I remember watching. Growing up in the early to mid-90s, the American anime craze wasn't as large as today. There were dubs of varying quality, but few shows became huge hits that I can remember. Speed Racer and Astro Boy come to mind. To my child self, animation and cartoons were interchangeable, stylistic aesthetics notwithstanding. I didn't even hear the word anime until I was in middle school. While I don't recall what drew me to the show, I know that I was hooked not long after my first viewing. I savored every episode of the first season, watching each as they aired on UPN. I even twirled one Halloween flashlight I had like Usagi's wand. After the season finale, my interest waned, and other shows drew my attention. Here's looking at you, Pizza Cats. Around 2002, Cartoon Network was added to my family's cable package, allowing me to finally watch shows I'd heard about from my school friends. During one random viewing, I rediscovered Sailor Moon, although by this time it was being phased out of Toonami's rotation. Luckily, Kids WB was there to help. While I couldn't watch an entire season like I had with UPN, the brief reruns gave my adolescent self a vague picture of the story I'd missed. Video store rentals, dollar stores, and Walmart visits helped with 2 movies and part of the next season, but until now that was the extent of my first-hand knowledge. Several years ago, Sailor Moon Crystal began. A second adaptation, it follows the manga more closely. When the anime was first announced, I wondered if the old show would receive a re-release, and if so, would it be the old dub or a new one? 2014 gave fans an answer, as Viz Media acquired the rights from Pioneer and released Sailor Moon on home video. The discs contain both the original Japanese audio and a fresh dub with a new cast. Since 2016, I've been slowly acquiring the series, and until now, procrastination has gotten to me. Since the new dub has finally touched stars, the season Pioneer didn't dub because of the editing involved, or so the rumor and innuendo goes. What better time to revisit this childhood favorite series and see how it holds up? I'll try to keep the old dub comparisons to a minimum, bringing them up only when appropriate. Set in Japan, Sailor Moon is the story of Usagi Tsukino, an average 14-year-old schoolgirl. A bit of a klutz, Usagi has a good heart. One day she meets a strange talking cat named Luna, who gives her the power to transform into a pretty guardian in a sailor uniform. Tasked with defending the Earth from the forces of the sinister Dark Kingdom, Usagi must find her fellow sailor guardians, and with their help find and protect the lost Moon Princess. A fantastical setup, Sailor Moon blends fantasy with typical slice-of-life tropes. Family life, school, and adolescent pursuits. This aspect flows naturally but causes certain episodes to feel like filler, especially when combined with the show's Monster of the Week approach. While not necessarily a negative, if one is watching for the main plot, it bogs the pacing. Still, it provides for entertaining one-shot episodes, one of my favorite being when the Guardians stay at a hotel where the staff dress like monsters. It's the classic horror fan in me. This aspect also affects the Dark Kingdom, which I'll address in due time. While serious as the main plot progresses, Sailor Moon contains a fair amount of comedy, mainly tied into the show's slice-of-life elements. It adds a sense of realism that contrasts wonderfully with the show's fantastical elements, making the Guardians feel like real teenagers. For Usagi, the main running gags are she's a klutz, constantly late for school, and loves to overeat. The first 2 make for entertaining moments early on, especially the former as Usagi settles into her role. The third I have no issue with, but I can see if others feel the fat-shaming element hasn't aged well. From what I've heard about Japanese culture and gaining weight, it was natural, especially when an annoying younger brother is factored in. Ray's grandfather clicks the old pervert box. While he doesn't do anything too outrageous, hitting on 14-year-old schoolgirls hasn't aged well, even if used mainly for comedic relief. Perhaps it's a cultural thing, because even in the 90s, I don't think it would have been appropriate in America outside fringe religious groups. Romance is an important aspect of the show. From the first episodes, the audience senses the attraction between Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask. This attraction contrasts the mutual disdain the two feel as Usagi and Mamoru. As the plot progresses, this attraction subtly crosses over between the two guises, although as the latter they refuse to admit it. It's only once the past of the Silver Millennium is revealed that the double attraction becomes one sole attraction, one that has lasted thousands of years and motivates Usagi until the end game. While they don't end up together officially by season's end, one must remember this is only season 1. There's still plenty of story time left for the shipping to occur. Sailor Mars, Jupiter, and Mercury also have romantic subplots. Mars is dating Mamoru before the past is revealed, and while she backs off following, it's obvious she still cares for the dashing prince. There's also a hint Mars likes her grandfather's apprentice, but other than mentioning it for completeness' sake, it goes nowhere serious. Jupiter has a crush on one of Mamoru's friends, but he already has a girlfriend. Mercury likes Ryu, one of the human vessels for the rainbow crystals, who is also an intellectual match for the blue-haired beauty. While they spend time together during Ryu's second appearance, nothing occurs between these two, which is a shame. Amy and Ryu look so cute together. Full disclosure, Mercury is my favorite guardian. There are other romances worth discussing, but they tie into the Dark Kingdom. Known as the Negaverse in the older dub, the Dark Kingdom are our Season 1 villains. Led by the Dark Beauty Queen Beryl, the kingdom's goal is to gather energy for Mataria, a malignant being made of pure darkness. The kingdom's true leader, not much is revealed about Mataria outside of her involvement in the downfall of the Silver Millennium, although from what I've read, more is revealed later. While I wouldn't call her tragic, Beryl has an identifiable backstory. In Earthling during the Silver Millennium, Beryl developed unrequited love for Prince Endymion, Mamoru's past self. This unrequited love turns to anger when she discovers Endymion has fallen for Serenity, the Moon Princess. In her anger, Beryl joins Mataria and is corrupted by the darkness. This corruption is evident in Beryl's design, as she radiates dark beauty. Beryl's possessive love for Endymion remains, as she becomes obsessed with capturing Mamoru once his face is revealed. This possessiveness carries forward into Beryl's final battle with Usagi and is her own doing. Mainly retroactive, I find Beryl to be like Disney's Maleficent. While not fully comparable, Beryl and Jolie's version are both motivated by romances that took a dark turn. Beryl's was unrequited, while Jolieficent's involved betrayal. Both characters turned towards the darkness in response, although Jolieficent's arc ends with redemption. In this regard, Beryl is closer to the animated Maleficent, beautiful, deadly, and a mistress of all evil, if only by screen time. Four Kings of Heaven are Beryl's main lackeys, and the Dark Kingdom's poster children for the first half of the season. Endymion's guardians in the manga, no such connection is hinted at here. In fact, they don't appear in the backstory flashback until Beryl's attack on the Moon Kingdom. Their romances with the four inner guardians are also ignored, although it could have been interesting if executed properly. Charged with collecting energy for Mataria, each king go about it differently. Jadeite executes a majority of the filler-esque methods, from opening a gym to producing a fake love letter radio program. Simple and allows the audience to understand the premise without major risk, even if it is a strange plan for a group of otherworldly beings. Nephrite consults the stars to find the perfect victims, only collecting energy once he or she is at their peak. Nephrite's death arc contains a romance with Naru, Usagi's best non-guardian friend. While originally hesitant, Nephrite eventually returns Naru's feelings, causing him to give his life to save hers. Nephrite's final moments are touching and cause the audience to feel sympathy for him. Nephrite's death devastates Naru, who is down for several episodes. Nice thematic continuity. This is also one of the few times where Naru is important to the story, not counting Monster of the Week drama. Zoisite and Kunzite appear around the Rainbow Crystal arc. While they also collect energy, finding the crystals is their primary motivation. The two are lovers, which is why Zoisite is voiced by a female in certain dubs. Censorship with minor contextual editing. Their relationship is a nice moment of light within the dark, and it fuels kunzite during the final episodes. Takanori Arisiwa's score is excellent, complementing each aspect of the show. While elements were left intact in later parts of the original dub, most of the score I remember from Season 1 was new music. The Guardian transformation melody is the best example. While I still enjoy the Deke transformation score for nostalgic reasons, Arisiwa's fits better. During this revisit, the only moment I felt lacked the same emotional resonance was the reformation of the silver crystal. The score was nice, but the melody of My Only Love suits the moment better, even if the lyrics are on the nose. Now we come to voice acting, the major point of Viz vs. Deke. Well, I'm not sure what percentage of my fellow Moonies are in each camp. I side with Viz as a whole. Like with the score, there is nostalgia attached to the Deke dub, from the cast's theatrical vocal delivery to localized lines. Here's looking at you, Melted Boots. While reserved by comparison, Viz's cast give decent to great performances, with Stephanie Shea, Kate Higgins, Michelle Ruff, and my older doppelganger Johnny Young Bosch amongst the cast. The only major voice shift it took a while to get used to was Luna. It felt weird not having her sound British. After 3 episodes, I acclimated. Delivery aside, the script's localization and uncensored release also give Viz the edge, though I'm not sure how well the latter will factor in with later seasons before Stars. Sailor Moon Season 1 was entertaining. While some of the filler drags slightly, the episodes are engaging enough to keep one's interest before the main plot re-engages. With likable leads, despicable but relatable villains, and an MCU-ish tone, it is worth a marathon watch. If you've never seen Sailor Moon before, or are on the fence regarding the redub, it is available to watch on Hulu. The picture quality is great, and you'll be able to marathon with ease in the moonlight.